Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking time and joining our webinar today. The webinar is Nutrition 101. The idea of this webinar is to focus on a healthy diet to increase your productivity at your workplace. I'm Soumya, your moderator today. With us, we have Mr. Kaushik Igoni, the CEO of Wellsome Eaton, a health and wellness company delivering personalized nutrition solutions. He has a background as a research engineer in human and animal nutrition, and he actually believes in inspiring people, to challenge their status quo and, to creating equal opportunities for global citizens for better lives. He is also an enthusiast of sustainable environmental solutions. So we welcome him wholeheartedly for this discussion, for this webinar. My first question to Kaushik would be, what are the essential nutrients working individuals to maintain a healthy physical and mental health, and how can we ensure that they get it throughout the day, considering the busy lives they have in today's world? Kaushik, over to you.
Soumya, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. It's a pleasure to be here to begin with. And I've put together a small slide deck to help out with the topic. So maybe let me share my screen and we'll start from there. And yeah, can you guys see it? Can someone let me know?
Yes, we can see it, Kaushik.
Fantastic. So yeah, good question to start with. Yeah, essential nutrients that you would need. Typically, anyone planning a healthy diet, it has to start with a goal, and usually the key macronutrient in the goal setting process is your protein. So you start with the protein. It helps with muscle growth, repair, so many metabolic functions. And then depending on the kind of diet you're used to, for example, people in the Indian subcontinent, we eat more of a carb-based diet. There's a lot of rice, chapati, that kind of things. On the other hand, if you think of Mediterranean countries, there is a lot of healthy fats, avocados, olives, etc. So you decide what ratio of fats and carbs you need. And based on that, you set your macronutrient distribution. And then you try to include whole foods, not processed foods. The reason being, they retain a lot of vitamins and minerals. So they're dense in terms of nutrition. And they have a lot of fiber naturally. Most of the plant food is made that way. And, all this helps with a lot of essential functions such as, you need a strong immunity system when things go wrong. B, you need sustained energy throughout the day so that you'll be able to work, carry out your household chores, work in a professional setting, think, and you need good hydration so that all the nutrients are carried throughout your body cells, every nook and cranny in your body. So it's a very cyclical, integrative process, and we can't skip one and assume we can function without that. So there's no shortcuts, but Soumya and I had a brief discussion before, and we live in a corporate world where it's all about hacks. So yeah, over the session, I'll be giving out hacks for a number of things. But yeah, I think this sets up a good template for how you get your nutrition, and how do we try to get that throughout the day. So for that question, we need to balance out the ratio. So National Academy of Medicine recommends, and this ratio will work for 99% of people, except for, athletes who are extremely active, or, patients with clinical condition. Only those are the exceptions, but otherwise this will work pretty well for everyone. So you need a carbohydrate ratio of somewhere around 45 to 65%. 10 to 35% should be your protein, and 20 to 35% should be your fat, and most of it through whole foods and not very processed foods. Yeah, I think if you are able to maintain this, then you are good pretty much.
That's a very good information, Kaushik. Actually, my next question moves on to a fact that as much as we know what this is what we need to eat, most of the times we don't realize that how this is going to translate into our improvement in health. Like as much as you listed these, can you give us an understanding as to how this will improve the a particular person's at workplace, the basically productivity and the performance at workplace?
Certainly, certainly. So what we are talking about is how a certain macro or micronutrient is going to help out with any person's performance at workplace, right? So here, this kind of goes back to the previous slides. So carbohydrate typically is our major source of energy. So maybe people can feel relatable to this. When you don't eat rice on certain days, you really feel low. Okay, when you eat only salad, that's really low in carbs, you don't have a lot of energy. So, and that is why many people can't stick to a diet that is, majorly salad based, and there's not much rice or wheat. So, yeah, rice is typically our main source of energy, but in general, carbohydrates are. And fat is essential for brain function. And typically, if you take these two, or I should say, the key to very good performance lies in these two macronutrients. And if I want to translate it in terms of food, so when you are starting your day with heavy work, and again, this changes with people, their habits, their work style, and everything. But let's assume someone needs to get a lot done in the morning. So that's when you need to have a good breakfast that's, very well balanced in all macronutrients. You should have good protein, good carb, and fat. But then throughout the rest of the day, you can sustain on carbs with high nutrients. For example, fruits, vegetable slices, etc. On the other hand, let's say if someone is active during their afternoons or evenings, then they can keep their breakfast really light, and they need to adjust their lunch in a certain way that they're not eating a lot of processed carbs. They need to consume whole foods, more like brown rice instead of white rice. Uh, these changes will make sure the energy is more sustained and there's enough fiber. And that way, you can perform throughout the day at a consistent pace.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a great insight actually, because I think what we tend to do is most of us tend to skip our breakfast and tend to eat heavy at the lunchtime, because that's the practical 1 hour we get during the day, or half an hour in some cases. So
Yeah.
I think that's a great insight into how we should divide our nutrition and diet during the day. Um, so we hear a lot of this, these days, something about mindful eating. How do we enforce this and make better choices during the day to boost our focus? Are there any tips, or so to say hacks, you would want to follow, if we would want people to follow? The idea is to have this as a sustainable long-term goal rather than having a short-term, because most of the times what we do is we land up on a diet and we tend to break it halfway because we are not able to continue. So how do we do that on a sustained basis for a longer period rather?
Okay. You have a few questions in there, Soumya, so I try to break it up.
Okay.
So let's try to address the mindful eating side of things.
Okay.
So mindful eating is a simple subset of maintaining a general mindfulness with anything. So when you are mindful, you're not doing anything serious there. You are just being conscious of what you're doing. So the biggest problem that occurs with the corporate life is we tend to, we are sitting in AC, there are glass walls around us. So it's hard to tell when the afternoon is turning evening, and it's hard to tell the differences that's happening outside the walls. So we tend to merge the afternoons, mornings, and evenings. And one biggest mistake that we do is we end up sitting or snacking or having lunch at desks. So the biggest hack you can have is, maybe you can tag along with your peers. They can come and nudge you to, step away from desk. But having a common kitchen area, having a common cafeteria area where you can have lunch, just lunch, nothing else. It doesn't take a lot of time, but that will definitely refresh your brain, gives you a new perspective when you go back to work. But the biggest benefit you're getting is you are paying attention to your food. So, if the food is oily, you know to wipe it off. You know when to stop. You are sending those signals to the brain, when you're full, when you're not full, etc. And yeah, I mean, with the OTT and everything, the mindfulness is going down. People, even at home, are just watching a movie and eating. But yeah, unfortunate part, if they focus, whatever, 15 minutes, half hour, I think they don't need to worry about sticking to the diet. Their bodies will help them out. So that's the mindfulness part. And you mentioned people not being able to stick to a certain diet, leaving it halfway. So that, in my opinion, is because of the habit routines. So habit routines, the biggest difference between effort and a habit is Nobody tells you to brush your teeth in the morning. You do it. You take bath every morning effortlessly. No one's nudging you, unless it's Sunday. But but yeah, habits will make things effortless. And what you need to cultivate are tiny habits. Let's say you want to, let's say cooking breakfast is becoming difficult. Then you need to get something like a slow cooker. So slow cooker, for the people who don't know, cooks meals over the span of 8 hours, something like that. So you can set things up in the night, things are ready in the morning. That way you created one tiny habit and your entire breakfast problem is sorted. So whatever that small habit is, let's say you recently purchased a nutrition recommendation app and you want to stay consistent with the diet recommendations. So make a habit of just looking at it the previous night, just looking up your diet the previous night. At some point, you'll get the nudge that, oh yeah, this is coming up. I will get benefit if I follow this. The whole accountability game sets on. So yeah, I hope that answers.
That actually answers a part of my next question also.
Okay.
So I was going to ask, see, what happens is when we are at work, most of the times for the lack of better options, we choose, if we are too conscious about it, we choose the healthiest option. When we go back home, we get kind of laid back. Is there, I mean, apart from cultivating a habit, are there any tips or hacks or any suggestions you would give in terms of snacking, try to snack healthy, or what other I mean, basically, can you give us an examples of how we could balance the nutrition during the day, like what a person can look at if there are limited options?
Are we talking during the day or as the day ends?
Uh, as the day ends,
Okay.
because we usually are full of energy in the beginning of the day. By the day, as the day ends, we are losing our energy and we are very tempted or land up snacking or eating junk at that point in time for the
Yeah.
lack of, again, better options, since we are all at work.
Yep. That's a huge corporate problem. I don't know if we do a poll, 90% or above will fall into this category.
I am part of the problem.
Right. Yeah, I was having this problem for a number of years. So the biggest solution to this is eat a lot before evening. So, but how do you eat a lot? That's the follow-up question. So, snacking, smart snacking is the term that's going wild these days. Smart snacking is nothing but there are two ways to look at it. A, the snacks shouldn't get boring. B, the snacks should be nutrient dense as well, because every time we are loading our bodies up with energy, the bursts of energy should have micronutrients so that the metabolism is working at the same pace. Okay. So for that, the low-hanging options are your fruits and veggies pre-cut. So carrying them is the easiest way, but those are the most boring ones as well for many people. So the second best option is, and here you can get really creative. So batch making your snacks. This used to be a huge grandma trick. When there are festivals, they make a whole can of snacks, and then every evening we get like one laddu, one portion of snack, something like that. So we can do something similar, but nutrient dense. So we can try things like granola to make it interesting. You can coat the granola with chocolate. That way, you are not eating a lot of chocolate, but you're getting the same flavor and goodness. Yeah, there are many batch snacks. Popcorn is a great one. It's super light. You can make it in microwave. There are popcorn makers. Yeah, there are many such alternatives. There is another problem here. You run out of ideas. Okay, there are many nutrition apps these days that can give you just the idea that you would need. And when you see the platter of options, it really becomes easy to pick one. But you just need to do these things proactively. You need to pre-plan. And mindfulness again plays a key role here. You should know that by the end of the day, 4 p.m. and past, your energy is going to go low. So it's time to replenish and stuff. So yeah, you can do many things, but pre-planning is a huge habit that can help you out.
Nice. Those are some excellent tips to take home. I leave it to you to add any other important things you might feel would benefit our listeners who are seeing this webinar. I leave the floor to you, Kaushik.
Great. I think I have a couple of slides with some hacks. Maybe I'll leave people with those.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so this kind of answers one of the questions you asked before. How do you ensure you have adequate nutrient intake? So the best way is to consult a nutritionist, but the easiest way is to incorporate a variety of foods. When we eat just one kind of food, people who are not smart about their goals tend to do this. For example, some people try to bulk up and they just rely on a lot of eggs and chicken. Some people, on the other hand, tries to go slim and they skip rice. They think skipping rice would help, and then they'll face problems. So incorporate a variety of foods. For example, for the rice situation, there's quinoa, there are millets, you have something called couscous, there's chapati, you can have all sorts of paratas. So just switch your options. And of course, switch the recipes as well. You can do upmas, soups, salads, and a plethora of things. And choose your snacks wisely. Nuts, they are nutrient dense and calorie dense. So when you really need to get some work done, have those. But then when you are not too active, or when you anticipate there's not going to be a lot of thinking, but you're hungry, then have fruits. Fruits are low in calories and high in nutrition. Stay hydrated. Again, fruits and vegetables are a huge good source. Cucumbers, watermelon, sparkling water, sometimes milk. Just mix it up. Don't just rely on water. Don't make it boring. And of course, consult a professional and see if you need any supplementation. Sometimes people are deficient in iron, vitamin D, B12 is a very common one these days. So just get your annual checks done. And if you're deficient with any micronutrient, just consult a professional. Okay. And yeah, healthy habits at work, pre-planning, packing nutritious lunches and snacks. You can again batch make these. US, when I was working in the US, I used to do this all the time, and it's okay there, storing your food in the fridge, heating it up. So it was easy. For some reason, it's not very acceptable in India, but if you do it right, that's a great way to go. And yeah, even at cafeterias, I think companies, if they can proactively make sure there are healthy options over there, that's a huge plus. And yeah, when you want to eat mindfully, just take that break. It's half an hour max, and it'll help you a lot. And yeah, make it a group thing. Potlucks, wellness Wednesdays, whatever it is, go creative, do the water challenge, hydration challenge, whatever it is, just keep people's mind on it. Okay. And yeah, how do you prioritize healthy eating at a personal level? Meal planning goes a long way. Once again, technology can help you out a lot. There are many applications, including ours, that can help you with the planning, and it will take the entire burden out of your head. So you're outsourcing it to an expert. So utilize technology. Now is the right time, and set realistic goals. Do not think about losing 10 kilos in 3 months. It's hard. Many apps advertise that, unfortunately, it's not sustainable for a lot of people. So yeah, and you have a full-time job. So don't overdo anything. Set realistic goals. And I want to mention a quick thing. If you lose even 5% to 10% of your body weight, that's excess, that'll improve your entire metabolism and the whole blood sugar levels, your micronutrient levels, and many more things drastically. So any weight loss and in general weight management is just as good. You don't need to lose a lot of weight and fall into the ideal BMI category, or you don't need to aim for six-pack. Seek support, huge one. There's nothing as good as a great community. If you have a community of people that are like-minded, that have common goals, then you can really lift off of each other. And do the same with your family members as well. Encourage each other, hold each other accountable. That way, you can stay consistent. And I think that's all I have. Maybe I'll stop sharing the screen as well. And
Thank you for that,
yeah,
Kaushik. Those were some excellent points where you gave us an insight about how we can divide our meals and what we can eat to make our, workplace a little more productive and a little more, we can be alert and productive throughout the day. And like you said, I think the focus is mainly on cultivating a habit and having meals pre-planned, which will ease our lives a lot more. So that was an excellent talk, and thank you so much for giving us this, Kaushik.
thank you, Soumya.